Imagine saving money for 5 long years, skipping holidays, wearing old clothes, working overtime, all for one dream: owning your first home. Now imagine being told, yes, the house is yours. And then, a week later, the owner stab you in the back and try to sell it to someone richer. What happened next? Let's just say they never saw it coming. If you've ever watched someone powerful try to bully good people and secretly wished karma would hit them instantly, you're gonna love this story. Hit like, subscribe, and settle in, because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. This story happened years ago, but even today, thinking about it still makes my blood warm with satisfaction. My best friend and her husband weren't rich, not even close. They had 5 kids. 5! Their house wasn't a dream home. It was old, tired, and honestly falling apart. The kitchen smelled permanently damp. The drains gurgled like something alive lived inside them. Wallpaper peeled off like sunburned skin. But it was home, and they were grateful, because rent in the city was brutal, and somehow they managed to rent this 4-bedroom house for a price they could barely afford. The owner, an elderly woman, wealthy, kind, the type of person who remembered birthdays and asked about the kids by name. She adored my friend. One evening, she made a promise that changed everything. "Save your money," she told them gently. "When you're ready, I'll sell you the house." She even froze their rent for 5 years so they could save faster. 5 years. No vacations, no luxuries. Every spare dollar went into a future that finally felt possible.
And they trusted her because she'd helped other families before. She kept her word until life intervened. 2 days after they told her they were ready to buy, she passed away. No contract signed, just a promise floating in the air. The house didn't go to charity. It went to her 4 adult children, each already wealthy, each already owning multiple properties. When they first met my friends, they smiled politely, professional, reassuring. "Don't worry," they said. "We'll honor our mother's agreement. Just wait until probate finishes."
Relief washed over everyone. The dream was still alive. So my friends started preparing. They painted walls, removed old wallpaper, imagined where the kids' photos would hang. For the first time, it felt like their home. Months passed. Finally, probate settled. The owners confirmed the sale would go ahead. Everything seemed perfect. Until the bank called. Loan denied. Confused, my friend contacted the owners. That's when the truth dropped like a hammer. They had secretly increased the price by $80,000. No warning, no discussion, and worse, the house would now go on the open market in 7 days. 7 days. I remember sitting at their kitchen table when they told me. 5 kids running around, bills stacked nearby, hope draining out of the room. They weren't just losing a house, they were losing stability. Rent prices had exploded while theirs stayed frozen. If someone else bought the property, they could be evicted or forced into rent they couldn't afford. They might not even find another home big enough for their family. And the worst part, those owners didn't need the money. They were already rich. They were squeezing a struggling family for profit that barely mattered to them. I felt heat rise into my chest. My hands literally shook. Not anger, something deeper. Injustice. That moment when you realize good people are about to lose everything because someone else chose greed. And that's when I remember sitting at their kitchen table when they told me. 5 kids running around, bills stacked nearby, hope draining out of the room. They weren't just losing a house, they were losing stability. Rent prices had exploded while theirs stayed frozen. If someone else bought the property, they could be evicted or forced into rent they couldn't afford. They might not even find another home big enough for their family. And the worst part? Those owners didn't need the money. They were already rich. They were squeezing a struggling family for profit that barely mattered to them. I felt heat rise into my chest. My hands literally shook. Not anger, something deeper. Injustice. That moment when you realize good people are about to lose everything because someone else chose greed.
And that's when a dangerous thought entered my mind. Fine. If they wanted to sell the house, we'd help them sell it. Just not successfully. I researched everything that makes buyers fall in love with a home. Then I reversed it. We needed the house to look undesirable without making my friends look like bad tenants. Step 1, space manipulation. We moved furniture away from walls, added extra chairs, borrowed random decorations. Motorcycle posters covered the walls. The house suddenly felt cramped, smaller, chaotic. Step 2, smell. Smell is powerful. People decide emotionally within seconds. So, we boiled cabbage. Yes, an entire head. The scent crawled into every corner. Then we sprayed ammonia near doors, so it smelled like neighborhood cats had claimed the place as their personal battlefield. And finally, rotten eggs down the drain. The air smelled like sewer gas. Absolutely unforgettable. Step 3, the neighborhood illusion. With permission, we placed an ugly, moldy couch outside a nearby yard. Instant visual red flag. But we weren't done. Open house day arrived. The owners expected a bidding war. Instead, our operation began. Friends with loud, terrible cars drove laps around the street. Engines revving, doors slamming, constant traffic. The quiet neighborhood suddenly felt like rush hour. Then came phase 4, our rugby club friends. Huge guys, leather jackets, motorcycles, loud laughter. The neighbor hosted a barbecue. Free food, cheap beer, crowds gathered next door. Music played, engines roared. It looked like weekly chaos lived there. Potential buyers arrived and instantly hesitated. Some walked in, sniffed the air, and left within minutes. One woman stayed inside her car watching the party next door, then quietly drove away. Another brave buyer asked someone leaving the barbecue, "Is it always like this?" Without missing a beat, our friend replied casually, "Oh yeah, every couple weeks, after parties everywhere." Then added helpfully, "And those drains? Always blocked. Smell gets bad." Buyer gone. Offer? None. The entire day passed, and not a single serious bid appeared. Now came the beautiful part. My friends were the only buyers left. The owners had no choice. They accepted their offer, still higher than before, but far below what they wanted. Contract signed, deposit paid, deal locked. And because anti-gazumping laws were strict, the sale was final. Hours later, another buyer finally submitted an offer. $30,000 more. Too late. Legally impossible. I would pay money to see the owners' faces when they realized their greed had cost them thousands. They tried to outplay a struggling family. Instead, they got outplayed by community, loyalty, and a little creative revenge.
The day my friends received the keys was emotional. Kids running through rooms screaming, and my friend stood in the hallway crying quietly. Not loud tears, relief tears. 5 years of sacrifice, months of fear, all replaced with security. They weren't renters anymore. They were homeowners. And the people who tried to cheat them, they unknowingly sold the house exactly how we wanted. The day my friends received the keys was emotional. Kids running through rooms screaming, and my friends stood in the hallway crying quietly. Not loud tears, relief tears. 5 years of sacrifice, months of fear, all replaced with security. They weren't renters anymore. They were homeowners. And the people who tried to cheat them, they unknowingly sold the house exactly how we wanted.
Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about restoring balance. Those owners had power, money, and advantage, but they underestimated something stronger. People protecting people. Greed tried to win. Community won instead. And honestly, that victory still feels glorious. If this story satisfied your inner sense of justice, hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable revenge stories. And tell me in the comments, what's the smartest revenge you've ever seen? Because sometimes karma just needs a little help.